eyes aligned with each other, and I drew a vertical line to find the center of the face. The eyes themselves are about 4 eyes width apart, and I drew some lines downwards from the eyes to help align the nose. The nose is set a little bit inwards from those lines, and I also used the center line to help find the symmetry, and I also added a bunch of different guidelines, as you can see in this example, to help me keep the symmetry of the nose and the rest of the facial features. Feel free to use as many guidelines as you want in a drawing like this, because you can always erase them afterwards, and they're hugely useful when you want to draw a face and keep everything aligned. And then once I finished drawing the nose, drawing the mouth was made a lot simpler with the 3 vertical lines that I'd initially drawn. And then after this, it was time to draw the rest of the outlines of the head, and the distance from the mouth to the eyes is the same as the distance from the eyes to the top of the head in this drawing. So with guidelines and rules like this, it makes drawings like this a lot simpler, and so I made sure to keep both sides of the face as symmetrical as possible by using the vertical line at the center of the face. So after this, all I had to do was draw the ears and a couple of extra layers of hair for the background. Once all of these outlines were drawn, it was time for some shading. I always like to start off by shading the eyes, and so I gave the eyes a very dark outline, and I left a highlight around the lower eyelid. I gave some dark shading around the top of the eye, but I left a highlight to make the eye seem more 3D, and it helps to make it stand out from the image. I also gave some darker hairs and skin around the outside of the eye. This will further help to make the eyes stand out from the image. I always like to make the eyes stand out a lot more in these drawings. For the nose, I left a highlight along the top, and I added a lot of shading to the inside of the nostrils. Adding a lot of shading to those areas really helps to bring out the shape of the nose. I think in examples like this, it's really important to have contrast between the highlights and the shading, and it really helps to define the shape. And then at this point, I just added a little bit of shading to the mouth. And then it was time to shade the hair, and the hair is probably at its finest around the nose. There are actually I was looking at some reference images, and there's actually some bald patches on some bears around the base of the nose, so I tried to incorporate that with the fine hair. The shorter style of hair in this drawing I found a little bit more difficult than I would with longer hair, like for my previous drawings of animals like lions and stuff. I found their hair easier to draw because I could follow my realistic hair drawing tutorial. But in this example, the hair is a lot more random. I basically just drew wavy lines, but in layers. It's really hard to explain, but hopefully I've shown it quite well in this example. I'll try and zoom in on some patches so you can see the process that I took, where I drew the lines first and then I added shading afterwards. I always find it's really important not to overthink things when you're drawing hair. Don't think about the placement overall. If you're looking at reference images, just use them as a guide, but don't copy them exactly. You don't need to focus time on copying exact hairs or where their placement is, because hair is random and you don't have to try and copy it exactly because it would drive you crazy, and I think if you spent too much time thinking about the placement of the hair, it would end up looking really awkward. So in this example I was just going crazy trying to draw as many wavy lines as possible and then adding the shading afterwards. And as I said before, I'll zoom in on this video and show you the process as well as I can. On this bear's face there seems to be a center point for the direction of the hair, and it all seems to be focused from the eyes, so it all goes out in a circular direction from the eyes. And that actually kind of helped, having that kind of direction, because it's meant that I could draw from the center to the outside. I made sure to add some darkened and some highlighted areas that I saw in the reference images I was looking at. There seemed to be some lighter hair around the forehead. There seemed to be some darker patches around the side of the face, and there seemed to be some layers, I guess, around the chin. There was some highlighted hair around there. And then finally, shading the hair for the ears was actually made very simple, because obviously you don't have to shade the inside of the ear or anything, because it's all covered in the same fur. So I just basically followed the same rules, and then I added some highlights around the edges of the ears because they would be highlighted by the light. As you can see, drawing the bear's fur takes a long time, and I think this drawing probably took me about 4 hours to complete, and that was mostly just the hair. So it took a long time to build up the layers and the shading. so don't be discouraged if the drawing seems to be taking you a long time as well. Overall, I really hope this video helped in some way, and I hope that it showed a good method to draw the fur. I tried to zoom in and show you as well as I could, and I hope it showed in some way the process that I went through. As always, if you enjoy these kind of videos, or if you want to learn how to draw, then feel free to subscribe, and any likes, shares, favourites, that kind of support is hugely appreciated, and it really helps my channel out. If you want to contact me via Twitter, Facebook or Instagram, I have all of my links in the description box below, so feel free to check them out and contact me there, and I'll be sure to get back to you. And once again, thank you so much for the support on this channel, it really means a lot to me. Thanks for watching this video, I really hope it was helpful in some way, and I'll see you all soon.